What's going on, y'all? Hopefully you are having a good Tuesday. Y'all know what it is. It's unusual looking screen because the website decided to stick an ad right up there. So, um thanks. Anyways, let's just get into it. Steelers Jaguars. Man, this is just going to be a total annihilation. Is there really much of a chance for the Jags to get this done at all? Steelers will go to 10-0 with a thorough romp of like 38-3. It's gonna be bad. The Titans and the Ravens. Now here's an interesting one because these are both extremely good teams, and one of them is probably gonna end up missing the playoffs, just because there's so much competition. There's so many teams with high records. So we could end up seeing like a 10 or 11 win team miss it this year. But anyways, for the Titans and the Ravens, obviously their offense has been struggling all year long, and that shined through against a depleted New England defense, who is obviously without Stephon Gilmore. J.C. Jackson had a pick, and yeah, I think the Titans are ready to get back on track here. They haven't played great the last month or so. They've lost. They lost to the Bengals. They lost to the Steelers after starting out the season as one of the best teams in the league. So I think the Titans and especially Derrick Henry are going to have a really nice, sort of bounce back game, and they'll return to being a truly elite group. Meanwhile, for the Ravens, they fall to 6-4, and their playoff hopes diminish even more. Bars. Then we have the Patriots and the Texans. Pats just got a big old statement win against Baltimore, and there's a chance that if you get a win like that, you can be like overconfident and end up getting beaten in your next game, but not when you have the kind of roster that New England has, as well as the coach. Obviously, it goes without saying, Bill Belichick isn't gonna let anything like that happen. But obviously, they got some vets on this squad, and I think they will. Oh, hold on, I got something in my eye. Be right back. You know what? That actually came out instantly, so I will not even cut that part out. Patriots get the win for whatever reason I was gonna say. And now we move on to the Dolphins and the Broncos. I'm happy, obviously. Dolphins have become legit contenders. They've won 6 straight, I believe. And theoretically, this game against the Broncos shouldn't be much different. The Broncos have been straight up trash this year, and I don't really see any reason to bet against the Dolphins in this one, other than if they win this game, they'd be 7-3, and that just seems weird for the Dolphins. Not for me though. Dolphins 7-3. Hey man, Tua Tagovailoa. It's Tua time. That's all I gotta say. And now the Jets and the Chargers. Usually, whenever I get to the Jets game, I just skip over it. But I might be absolutely crazy for thinking about this. This might be a trap game for the Chargers, because obviously, it's a real chance that the Jets go 0-16 this year. But I feel like they wouldn't be the worst out of the 0-16 teams. I've looked at like stat comparisons for all three of them. The Jets had some of the worst numbers, but they've been pretty competitive in a lot of their games this season. Obviously, in the rest of them, they've gotten completely bodied and didn't show a sign of life. Um, but yeah, they almost beat New England last week. That being said, they are just not enough to take down the Chargers. Even if they can get it to like in final play, the Chargers will finally get themselves a close game because it's just a much more talented team. I think Anthony Lynn finally gives Justin Herbert a win when he's playing well like this. The Chargers are still 3-7 though, and then the Chiefs and the Raiders. Hold up. Oh yes, sir. This is the Sunday night game. I am 100% watching that. This season, there's been some emerging bad blood between these two teams, and you already know there's gonna be bad blood because Chiefs Raiders. This is like a storied rivalry, but apparently after they beat the Chiefs in like week three. Week three? Let me check. Oh, it was actually week five. My bad. The Raiders apparently took a victory lap around the stadium when they upset the Chiefs, and now that wouldn't be like too bad. But the thing is, that game was played at Arrowhead, so they were pretty much glued. Oh my God, I said gluting. Can we just, take a moment to appreciate my stupidity? Gloating to the Chiefs that they came in there and beat them. And of all the teams in the NFL that you don't want to piss off, the Chiefs have got to be near the top of that list. So I think they get a pretty big win against the Raiders. The Raiders might come out and go up a little bit early, just like, oh God, we ain't want to deal with this. But then it'll just all be over, and that's on the team for doing a victory lap around Arrowhead. Eagles Browns. I'm starting to really, really, really like the running back tandem of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in Cleveland. And that is not because I have them both in fantasy on the same team, okay? They're both very talented players. Obviously, you know what Kareem Hunt can do. And Nick Chubb has just gotten so good over these last 2 years. And the Eagles, they literally lost to the freaking Giants last week. So this is just a recipe for disaster. Browns get a win here. It's actually a 4-point game, so you already know that entire Packers team, especially guys like Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be out there grinding all week. And the Colts, let me just scroll up a bit so y'all can actually see some of the stuff. Annoying ass ad. It's just eating my content. Anyway, the Colts, even though they got the big win over Tennessee, they're not going to see the Packers coming. That's a game that could probably end up in a blowout. Either way, though, I got the Packers, who will now be 8-2. Bengals and Washington. The Bengals, it's been quite a rough season. Joe Burrow's been good. I mean, even though he's probably been like the third best QB out of 2020 class so far, Tua hasn't thrown an interception yet. He's had some really good games, and the multi-turnover, well, I don't know if he's had a multi-turnover game, the turnovers and the getting sacked. Cincinnati does not have an offensive line. And going against a pretty good Washington pass rush, I think that once again they're going to drop a game. Fall to 2-7-1. And end up sitting at the 5th pick for the draft, where I would expect them to probably take Penei Sewell if he's still available. Anyway, Cardinals Seahawks. Bro, that Cardinals-Bills game last week was so good. The Hail Murray is literally one of the most insane plays in the history of this game. And the Seahawks, though, the Seahawks have not really been in a good direction, obviously. They've dropped like 3 of their last 4 games. Russell Wilson might be losing his lead in the MVP race simply because the Hawks have no defense. I think that he's going to will them to a bounce-back victory here against Arizona. I mean, because even though Arizona managed to pick up that win, it was still a close one, and the Bills are a good team. A win is a win, but still, you gotta take into account that they just as easily could have lost that game. Now we move on to the Lions and the Panthers. Lions are a bit of a surging team. Matthew Stafford is single-handedly saving Matt Patricia's job. The Panthers, they've just totally fallen off. They were good early in the season. Some people thought they had a chance to make the playoffs, but they've been on a pretty bad losing streak lately. Christian McCaffrey did return. He had an amazing game, but he hurt his shoulder, and he's probably not going to be playing in this game, which really sucks. Been a rough year for C-Mac. I don't really see much changing against this Lions team. One guy I would like to watch is Jeffrey Okudah, because he has not played well at all in his rookie season so far, so he might be due for a breakout game. Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, I think. I don't know if he's going to be playing, but either way, look for Jeff Okudah to maybe have the best game of the season so far if the Panthers are playing PJ Walker out there. Falcons Saints, that's just devastating news to hear about Drew Brees. He broke multiple ribs and collapsed a lung. And so the best possible scenario for his return is 2 to 3 weeks. Until then, it's probably going to be Jameis time. The thing is, aside from the interceptions, Jameis Winston is actually a pretty decent quarterback. So it's not like, it's going to be a bit like the Teddy Bridgewater thing last year, where it's not like they're having to play some bum as backup while Drew Brees is hurt, because, Jameis Winston is decent, and aside from the interceptions, obviously, and when you're playing against a defense like the Falcons, especially the secondary, even though it's Jameis Winston who always finds a way to throw picks, I don't think he's going to get picked off, and he will lead the Saints to another win. We have the Cowboys now against the surging Minnesota Vikings. They look poised for an outstanding second half run. Dalvin Cook is now in the MVP conversation. I think they're going to get another win here against Cowboys and their outstanding defense. Because, at this point, honestly, Cowboys fans and likely management, they're just thinking ahead to next season when they will hopefully have Dak back. Then finally, we have the Rams and the Bucks, who picked up a big-time win against Carolina last week. Ronald Jones with one of the best runs in NFL history, 98-yard touchdown. But I feel like people are still sleeping on the Rams. They are really, really good. Unfortunately, though, Andrew Whitworth, who's a really good veteran of theirs, great locker room guy, there's just a mutual respect for him everywhere. He had a very bad injury last week, and he's probably going to miss quite a bit of time. That being said, seeing as he's so respected in that locker room, I think that his teammates will all rally around him and get Whitworth a big-time dub. So, those are my predictions for Week 11. Standings, Steelers still undefeated at 10-0, followed by the Titans, who get back in, and the Dolphins are now the 5th seed. They are tied with Buffalo for the AFC East. The Browns get their way back in, I believe. The Ravens completely fall out of the playoff picture. Then in the NFC, it's the Packers taking over the number 1 seed. I think taking over. I don't know. I don't remember. Then we got the Rams moving up to their best position all year, the 3rd seed. Eagles still in there at 3-6-1. The Seahawks get a much-needed win to stay in the playoffs. Tampa Bay hovering around the 6th seed. And Arizona, despite losing to Seattle, still stays in the playoffs. So, yeah, that's it. Obviously, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Or don't. I can't control you. Shout out to Click Productions. But either way, it'd be pretty appreciated. And, yeah, peace.